Hey everyone, welcome to The Bold and the Beautiful. I'm Oma, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Bold and Beautiful update, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. You ever make one mistake that changes your whole life? That's what happened to me. I was drunk, heartbroken, and I ended up sleeping with the one woman I swore I'd never touch, Nozawa. And if that wasn't bad enough, she got pregnant. I lost the love of my life, Electra, because of it. My father wanted to get rid of her, said she was nothing but a trap. And I agreed with him at first. I hated her. But the more time I spent around Luna, the harder it got to deny what was happening inside me. Because she wasn't just carrying my mistake. She was carrying my child. And somehow, in the middle of all that chaos, I started to feel something I never expected. This isn't a love story the way you think it is. It's messy, it's painful, and it's real. And it's mine. Heartbroken will Spencer falls for pregnant Luna. I never thought my life would turn into the kind of mess people only watch on TV. Then again, my family has never been normal. Growing up as Bill Spencer's son meant drama was always in the air like smoke you couldn't escape. But this nightmare I've landed myself in, it feels different. It feels personal, like my whole world has been ripped out from under me. The truth is, I'm broken. And if you stick with me, I'll tell you how a single mistake, one drunken night, one moment of weakness, turned my whole life upside down. It all started the night at Il Giardino. I wasn't planning to drink that much, but heartbreak has a way of convincing you that another glass won't hurt. Electra and I had been fighting for weeks. She's fiery, strong, everything I thought I wanted in a woman, but I never could shake the feeling I wasn't enough for her. I kept trying to prove myself, to live up to the Forrester name she carried like armor. But no matter what I did, it wasn't enough. That night, she stormed out after we fought about me working too much, or not enough, depending on how you look at it. I was frustrated, humiliated, and I wanted to forget. That's when Luna showed up. I didn't recognize her at first. Not really. She wasn't supposed to be alive. The whole world thought she was gone. And yet, there she was. Dark eyes full of secrets, that sly smile she wears like a mask. She slid into the booth across from me, uninvited, like she owned the place. "You look lonely," she said, her voice smooth as silk. I should have walked away. I should have left right then. But grief and whiskey are a dangerous mix. I laughed, shrugged, and let her order another round. The night is blurry, but I remember the way she leaned in too close, her perfume wrapping around me like chains. I remember her hand on my knee, her voice whispering things that made my chest feel lighter even as the guilt started crawling in. And then I remember nothing, just waking up in her bed, the taste of regret heavy in my mouth. When I realized what had happened, I wanted to crawl out of my skin. I had betrayed Electra, even if I hadn't meant to. I had given Luna the one thing she wanted, me. And she knew it. She was smug, smiling, acting like this was fate instead of a trap. "Don't look so angry," she teased, stretching like a cat. "You'll thank me one day." But I didn't thank her. I raged. I told her it was a mistake, that she had taken advantage of me when I wasn't in my right mind. She just laughed, like my pain was entertaining. And then, weeks later, she told me she was pregnant. That was the moment my world truly shattered. At first, I didn't believe her. I thought it was another one of her twisted games. But the tests confirmed it. She was carrying my child. My flesh and blood. And no matter how much I hated her for what she had done, I couldn't erase the fact that this baby was innocent. This baby didn't ask to be born into chaos. Electra didn't take the news well. She looked at me like I was a stranger, like she didn't even recognize the man standing in front of her. "You slept with Luna Nozawa," she spat, her voice shaking with fury. "Do you have any idea what she's done? What she is? And now she's pregnant with your kid? Will, you disgust me." I tried to explain, tried to tell her I hadn't meant for it to happen, that I'd been drunk, that Luna manipulated me. But Electra wasn't hearing it. She slammed the door on us, on me. And just like that, I was alone. Alone, except for Luna. And that's the cruelest part of it all. Because the more time I spent around her, the more confused I became. She was dangerous, yes. Manipulative, yes. But she was also carrying my baby, and in the quiet moments, when her walls came down, I saw flashes of something else. A girl who wanted to be loved. A girl who was terrified of being abandoned again. Sometimes, when she'd sit in the Spencer mansion's living room, hands resting on her stomach, she'd look so vulnerable that I almost forgot all the reasons I hated her. Almost. But then there was my father, Bill. He wasn't subtle about how he felt. He called her a liability, a mistake, a disaster waiting to happen. At one point, he even threatened to fix the problem himself, and by that, I don't think he was just talking about Luna. He wanted her gone, out of the picture, even if it meant forcing her into an abortion. And that's where the war started inside me. Because I hated Luna, yes, but I couldn't let him touch my child. That baby is mine. Mine. So here I am, stuck between a father who thinks he knows what's best, a woman who terrifies me as much as she fascinates me, and a future I never wanted but can't seem to walk away from. Sometimes I ask myself, am I falling for Luna? Or am I just falling apart, and she's the only one left to catch me? The Spencer mansion used to feel like a place of power. When I was a kid, I thought it was invincible. Marble floors, sweeping staircases, the kind of house that makes you think nothing bad can touch you inside its walls. But lately, it feels more like a cage. Every time I walk through those halls, I hear my father's voice echoing off the walls, barking orders, laying down ultimatums, trying to control the narrative like he always does. And now Luna is here, living under the same roof. I can't even describe what that does to me. To have her there, in my space, in my father's space, haunting every corner of this mansion like a ghost who refuses to move on. At first, I hated it. Hated her. I told her to stay out of my way, to keep her distance. But Luna doesn't take hints. She hovers, she lingers, she inserts herself into every moment like she belongs here. One morning, I came down for coffee, half asleep, and she was already in the kitchen. She was humming to herself, barefoot, pouring orange juice into one of the crystal glasses like she'd been living here her whole life. "What are you doing?" I snapped. She looked up, eyes wide but calm, and said, "Making breakfast for us." Us. Like we were a couple. Like Electra never existed. Like I hadn't screamed at her to leave me alone 100 times already. But then I noticed the plate she'd set aside for me. Scrambled eggs, toast, avocado, exactly the way I like it. I never told her that, but she remembered from some offhand conversation months ago, back when she was just orbiting my life on the outskirts. It pissed me off that she knew me that well. It pissed me off even more that, hungry as I was, I sat down and ate it. That's the problem with Luna. She worms her way into your cracks, the places you didn't even know were open. I keep telling myself she's dangerous, that she tricked me, that she stole from me the chance of having a future with Electra. And yet, at the same time, I can't deny the strange comfort of her presence. It's like being drawn to a fire. You know it's going to burn, but the warmth feels too good to resist. My father, of course, has no patience for any of this. He watches me with those sharp eyes of his, like he's waiting for me to collapse. He doesn't trust Luna. He doesn't trust me either. He's made it clear, the only reason he's letting her stay is because of the baby. And even then, I've heard him pacing the halls late at night, muttering about how this is all a mistake. One night, I caught him on the phone. "She won't keep it," he hissed to whoever was on the other line. "I won't let her trap my son. I don't care what it takes. I'll get rid of her before she ruins his life." I stood frozen in the doorway, rage boiling inside me. My father has always been ruthless, but this was about my child. About me. I stormed in and told him if he ever touched Luna, if he ever laid a finger on my baby, I'd walk out and never look back. The look on his face, It wasn't fear, it wasn't anger. It was disappointment, the kind that cuts deeper than any insult. "You're soft," he told me. "You're letting a manipulative, broken woman destroy everything I built for you." And maybe he's right. Maybe I am weak. But when I see Luna touch her belly with that faraway look in her eyes, when I hear the softness in her voice as she talks to the baby she hasn't even met yet, something in me shifts. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm fighting for something that's mine. Not my father's empire, not Electra's approval, not anyone else's expectations. Just mine. Still, the guilt eats at me. Every time I close my eyes, I see Electra's face. The betrayal in her eyes, the way she pulled her hand away from mine like I was toxic. I loved her. I really did. Maybe I still do. And yet, I can't change what happened. The nights are the hardest. I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the faint sounds of Luna moving down the hall. Sometimes she cries when she thinks no one can hear. I don't know why it surprises me, but it does. I thought she was made of steel, unshakable, manipulative to her core. But then I realize she's human. Flawed. Scared. And against my better judgment, I find myself drawn to that vulnerability. The other night, I couldn't take it anymore. I knocked on her door, ready to tell her to shut up, to stop keeping me awake. But when she opened it, her face was streaked with tears. She looked so small, so unlike the Luna who smirks and schemes her way through life. "I'm scared, Will," she whispered. "What if I can't do this? What if I ruin this child's life before it even begins?" And for a moment, my anger melted. I stepped inside, sat on the edge of her bed, and without thinking, I reached out and took her hand. Her fingers were cold, trembling. "We'll figure it out," I told her. The words shocked me as much as they shocked her. Because I meant them. I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know if I'm losing my mind or if this is just what love looks like when it's twisted and broken. But the truth is, something is shifting between us. Something dangerous, something undeniable. I used to think love was simple. You meet someone, you fall for them, you build a life together. But standing here now, looking back on everything that's happened, I realize love is anything but simple. It's messy, painful, sometimes cruel. And yet, somehow, it's the only thing that keeps me going. Electra is gone. I knew she wasn't coming back the moment she slammed the door that day. But I held on to hope longer than I should have, convincing myself she might understand, that she might forgive me. Weeks went by. I left her voicemails, sent texts, even wrote her a letter I never mailed. Nothing. She's done with me. And as much as that shatters me, I can't blame her. Because now, my life is tied to Luna. The months of her pregnancy dragged on like an endless storm. Every day was a battle between the person I wanted to be and the person I was becoming. I told myself over and over again that I didn't love her, that I couldn't love her. But then she'd smile, one of those rare, unguarded smiles, and my chest would ache in a way I couldn't explain. Bill never let up. He hovered, threatening, always trying to pull the strings like he was orchestrating a business deal instead of a human life. There were moments when I thought he might actually throw her out, pregnant or not. And every time, I stood between them. "You don't understand, Dad," I told him once after yet another shouting match. "This is my child. My responsibility. You can't control this." He glared at me like I'd betrayed him. Maybe I had. But for the first time in my life, I wasn't living by his rules. As Luna's belly grew, so did the weight on my shoulders. The house felt smaller, tighter, like the walls were closing in on me. But at the same time, something else was happening. I started to feel connected to her, to the baby. I'd find myself in the nursery late at night, standing in the half-finished room, running my hands over the crib rails. Sometimes Luna would join me, barefoot and quiet, her hand slipping into mine. We didn't speak much in those moments. We didn't have to. One night she whispered, "I know you hate me, but thank you for not hating this baby." And I realized then that she didn't fully understand what was happening inside me. Because I didn't hate her. Not anymore. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But the truth was, the hate had burned itself out, and what was left was something I couldn't name. Something fragile, dangerous, and real. The day finally came when Luna went into labor. Everything happened so fast. The rush to the hospital, the panic, the sheer terror that I might lose them both. I held her hand through every contraction, sweat dripping down my back, heart pounding like it was going to burst. She screamed, cursed my name, swore she'd never forgive me for getting her into this mess. And yet, when the cries of our baby filled the room, all of that disappeared. A daughter. We had a daughter. When they placed her in Luna's arms, something inside me cracked wide open. I'd never seen Luna cry like that, tears streaming down her face, her lips trembling as she whispered to the tiny life cradled against her. And when she looked up at me, eyes red and swollen, I felt it. That pull. That connection. That thing I'd been fighting all along. I loved her. Not in the way I'd loved Electra. Not in some perfect storybook way. But in a raw, broken, undeniable way. In the weeks after the baby's birth, everything changed. The mansion wasn't a prison anymore. It was a home. The late-night cries, the bottles, the exhaustion. It was chaos, but it was our chaos. And every time Luna and I traded weary smiles over the baby's crib, I knew we were in this together. Do I forgive her for what she did? Not entirely. Maybe I never will. But forgiveness doesn't always come in full. It comes in pieces, stitched together over time. And maybe that's enough. Sometimes, when I watch her rock our daughter to sleep, humming softly under her breath, I catch a glimpse of the life we could have. A life where the past doesn't define us, where the mistakes don't hang over our heads like shadows.